Hey guys, this is Ben with Texas Tether Company and Jumper Supply, and I wanted to show you a little bit about carabiners. But before I do, many of you don't know this, but before I started Jumper Supply and before I started Texas Tether Company, I was a rope access technician in the entertainment sector. That meant that I was often wearing a harness, climbing truss towers, climbing catwalks, climbing towers, and working at height, oftentimes directly on ropes. On this carabiner, it has a full set of engraving marks. The first one says KN with an arrow pointing from this point to this point of 24. That means that it's rated for 24 kilonewtons from this point to this point. And then it has an arrow from this point to this point saying that in this direction, if you had the load going that direction and the load coming this direction, you would have an 8 kilonewton rating. The next one has an open gate symbol. That means like this. So from this point to this point with the gate open, it has a 7 kilonewton rating. Next, you're going to see a date. And the reason that you have that date is because when you are using it for climbing or rope access work, you do have to use your equipment for a limited period of time. And different regulations require that you replace your equipment within a certain deadline. Also, you have some insignias here, a CE number here, EN numbers here. It's important when you're looking at your carabiners that you don't see not for climbing, not for overhead use, not for lifeline safety. Those different insignias that could possibly be on the carabiners you're using puts you at risk, because what you're doing when you anchor your inflatable or when you anchor a participant to a ride is you are providing lifeline safety. The rating at which you need on here should be in kilonewtons. This is a more simple engraved carabiner. It's only designed to be used in this direction because it has a wire gate that's non-locking. And this has a 12 kilonewton rating. You may ask, well, we're in America. Why is it measured in newtons? Why is it measured in kilos? And the reason for that is because that is a scientific rating. Here in the US, we also use the metric system in most of our scientific laboratory testing. This has our name on it, but these are not unique to us. They're in every climbing store, safety store in America. And what you want is to make sure that you have those engravings, that you're using equipment with its proper intended use. Because if you're using equipment not in its proper intended use, you leave yourself open to liability with your insurance company, with participants of the ride. If they are injured and you were improperly using equipment, then that leaves you liable. Here I have two carabiners that are about the same weight. They're about the same size. This one says not for climbing, and this one has a 12 KN rating on it. That 12 KN stands for 12 kilonewtons, which is a measurement of scientific force. And that means that this carabiner has gone through laboratory testing to hold 12 kilonewtons. Now 12 kilonewtons is plenty for holding a sandbag onto a inflatable, and that meets the ASTM standard for a tether point. It also shows that it was laboratory tested, and this gate here, or latch, does actually catch the ring when it goes to pull apart and keep it from pulling apart. So this would be a great option for holding sandbags down. They're pretty affordable, they're pretty lightweight, but it's not a great option for holding people down. And the reason for that is because all of the major standard testing for climbing, for workplace safety, for working at heights, for amusement rides, all require that you have something over 22 kilonewtons, oftentimes 24 kilonewtons. So this rating is not enough for that. You may ask, why is it enough for a whole bounce house and not for a person? And the reason is because the inflatable safety guidelines by ASTM require that you have multiple points, and those multiple points are sharing the load. So you're never going to have one carabiner holding an inflatable down. You're going to have 4, 6, 8, or more holding down an inflatable. If you're looking for something that's even more robust, if you're trying to hold down an anchor for a tent, you're trying to hold down a group of sandbags to a larger point on an inflatable, if you're trying to hold a user to the game with a bungee run or something like that, this 24 kilonewton carabiner that has a locking gate and also has a secondary gate, and that would keep something like your bungee cord from getting in your way every time you hook it and unhook it from a user. This locking gate and this higher kilonewton rating is rated for lifeline safety. You can get carabiners like this from us at Texas Tether Company or at Jumper Supply, but you could also get them from anywhere like REI or a climbing store near you. It's also important to note that both your insurance and the manufacturer guidelines require that you use equipment that is designed for what you're trying to do. Carabiners are just often overseen because even manufacturers oftentimes will deliver you something like this, which is fine if it came with the manufacturer because you can put that back on the inflatable manufacturer. But if you ever replace it with something that says not for climbing on the packaging, nothing on the carabiner, then you're putting yourself at risk.